Ray woke up on his 5th birthday, filled with excitement for the day ahead. He had been looking forward to celebrating with his parents and having a delicious dinner out. But little did he know, this day would change his life forever. As they drove to the restaurant, Ray's parents chatted and laughed, not noticing the car that was about to swerve into their lane. Before they knew it, there was a loud crash and the car spun out of control. Ray's father didn't survive the accident, and Ray was left with half of his face damaged and a permanent scar. The years that followed were difficult for Ray. At school, he felt isolated and alone. His classmates whispered behind his back and avoided him at all costs. But it wasn't until he overheard some children making fun of him that he truly felt the weight of his disfigurement. Ray's eyes welled up with tears as he struggled to process their cruel words. That evening, Ray lay in bed, tears streaming down his face as he clutched his pillow tightly. His mother, sensing that something was wrong, came into his room and sat down next to him on the bed. "What's the matter, my dear?" she asked, stroking his hair gently. "It's just, the kids at school were making fun of me again," Ray replied, his voice quivering with emotion. "Oh, Ray," his mother said, pulling him into a tight hug. "I'm so sorry. What did they say?" "They called me a freak and said I looked weird," Ray whispered, burying his face in his mother's shoulder. His mother held him close, rocking him back and forth as she spoke. "Listen to me, Ray. Those kids don't know what they're talking about. You are not a freak, and you are not weird. You are special and unique, and that's something to be proud of." "But how can I be proud of something that makes me different from everyone else?" Ray asked, his voice muffled by his tears. "Because your differences are what make you who you are," his mother replied, holding his face gently in her hands. "And you are amazing just the way you are. Don't ever forget that." Ray sniffled, wiping his eyes with the back of his hand. "Okay," he said softly. "I'll try to remember that." "Good," his mother said, kissing him on the forehead. Ray smiled weakly at his mother's words, feeling a small spark of hope in his heart. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to embrace his differences and find his own way to shine. And with his mother by his side, he knew he could do anything. With time, Ray found that he was spending more and more of his free time alone, with no one to play with or talk to. But instead of feeling sorry for himself, he began to use his alone time to explore his imagination and creativity. Ray would stand in front of the mirror in his room, contorting his face and body into all sorts of strange and silly poses. He would speak in different accents, try out different facial expressions, and act out whole scenes and scenarios from his favorite books and movies. At first, it was just a way to pass the time, but as Ray continued to practice, he found that he was getting better and better at acting. He started to experiment with different characters, trying to embody their personalities and mannerisms as realistically as possible. Before long, Ray had become a master of his craft. He could transform himself into anyone he wanted, from a grumpy old man to a mischievous pixie to a fierce dragon slayer. He loved the feeling of slipping into different roles and exploring the depths of his own creativity. One day, As he was performing one of his favorite scenes from a movie, Ray's mother walked in on him. She watched him for a few moments, a smile playing at the corners of her mouth, before clearing her throat to get his attention. "Ray, my dear," she said, "have you ever thought about doing something with your acting talent? You're really quite good at it." Ray looked at his mother, a spark of excitement igniting in his chest. "Do you think so?" he asked, feeling a glimmer of hope for the first time in a long while. "I do," his mother replied. "I think you have a gift, and it would be a shame to let it go to waste. Why don't you try making some videos of your performances and posting them on YouTube? Who knows, you might just become the next big thing." Ray's eyes widened at the thought. He had never considered sharing his acting with anyone else before, but the idea of becoming famous and appreciated for his talent was an intoxicating one. So he took his mother's advice and started recording videos of his performances. At first, he was nervous about putting himself out there for the world to see, but as the views and likes started pouring in, he realized that he had nothing to fear. Before he knew it, Ray had become an internet sensation. People all over the world were watching and sharing his videos, and he was receiving messages from fans who told him how much his performances had inspired them. For the first time in his life, Ray felt truly seen and appreciated. And he knew that it was all thanks to his unique appearance and his willingness to embrace his differences. Then, something incredible happened. A film director stumbled upon one of Ray's videos and was blown away by his talent. He offered him a role in a new superhero movie, a role that was tailor-made for his unconventional appearance. Ray was overjoyed at the opportunity but also terrified of the spotlight that came with it. As the filming progressed, Ray's confidence grew. He was surrounded by a supportive cast and crew, and he felt like he was truly living out his dreams. The film was a smash hit, breaking box office records and turning Ray into a household name. But despite all of the fame and success, Ray never forgot where he came from. He continued to use his platform to speak out about self-love and acceptance, encouraging others to embrace their own differences and find their true value. One day, as Ray was walking through his old school, he was greeted by a group of former classmates. They were sheepish and apologetic, admitting that they had misjudged him all those years ago. They now saw him as a role model, a true inspiration for anyone who had ever felt different or excluded. Ray smiled and took a group photo with them, feeling a sense of peace and closure. He had come a long way since that fateful car accident, and he was proud of the person he had become. His disfigurement had once been a source of pain and embarrassment, but now it was a symbol of strength and resilience. Thanks for watching.